Welcome, Mental Health Matters, as we kick things off inside our second hour on this, the final day of November 2023, Thursday, 30th. Who would imagine? It is a sprint now to the rest of, well, for the rest of 2023, and it brings us into today's topic for Mental Health Matters. Are you the right kind of crazy? And trust me, we're going to see that come into its own in the next couple of days into Christmas and beyond. But it's a broader discussion, and we welcome Johanse to do the deep dive this morning. Johanse, welcome.
Jason, thank you, and morning to all the viewers.
Johanse, we're asking the question, are you the right kind of crazy? I mean, it's one, I guess, you look yourself in the mirror and you ask the question. I wonder what the answer would be for many this morning.
All right. Usually I don't subscribe to the word crazy or mad, right? But I'm using it for the purpose of what we're talking about this morning. Usually when you think about somebody that's crazy, you know, you might say the person imagining things or seeing things that are not there, right? And sometimes we imagine things and have an emotional reaction to it. So let me give you an example. Before you leave the house, you imagine everything that could go wrong, and then you have an emotional reaction to it, to something that's not even real. So I wonder if this person might look me the wrong way. I wonder if this bad thing will happen. I wonder if people will see me a certain way. I wonder if this person will get angry with me. So you have an emotional reaction and a negative emotional reaction to something that is not real. So therefore, you're crazy. And sometimes I'm crazy too, you know, because sometimes I come up with something negative in my mind based on a situation. I wonder if somebody will get vexed with me if I say this, boy. I wonder something negative.
But isn't this sometimes to do with, because I'm making some notes here, I'm thinking, as you describe the scenario, anxiety, people who might have self-esteem issues. And I know there are many who self-medicate, self-prescribe. I'm seeing ads all on cable every time with up to like children having anxiety and the mom prescribing some kind of medication for the young man because, again, he might go into the scenario with strangers and, well, again, we don't like the word itself, but act as we using it for this particular argument, a bit crazy. What say you? Is it part of a deeper issue with some people?
Yes, we will go with a deeper issue, but let me go with the core of is usually imagination. You only think about everything that could go wrong. So I have a test, I'm thinking about I will fail. I have a game to play, I'm thinking I will lose. I have something to do, I think I wouldn't do good. And then, of course, anxiety is when you have so many of those negative thoughts that it actually has a physical reaction. So going back with, it's still imagination. We imagine a lot of times the worst thing that could happen. And if we can continue doing that, that could be considered crazy.
But you know, and again, we go back to the word itself. Many of our invention, many people who would have made major strides, people might have said, that's a crazy idea, or that's real out of the box. And I know sometimes self-doubt comes into play, self-sabotage comes into play when it comes to business. Because, again, you might see the big picture. You come up with this grand idea. I want to do this massive event, or I want to do this particular business, and you see the end goal. But when you start to work out all the dynamics, what you need to get, loan, this, money flow, cash flow, you start to have a now self-doubt. And that's, I guess, where the fear, not knowing what could happen, and some people might hold themselves back. So I guess you have to sometimes be the right amount of crazy to go forward.
Correct, and that is the flip side to it, yeah. Because if you have a vision, you know what? I want to fly like a bird in the sky, so I'm going to invent an airplane. But you're mad, right? I want to have an event, the biggest event I ever had before. But I don't know, I never did it. So there's a certain amount of crazy. So it's the flip side. One, you could imagine and be crazy and have an emotional reaction, a negative emotional reaction to all the things that may go wrong, or you could have a positive reaction to all the things that may go right. But either way, it's coming from the imagination.
It's true, because you're thinking or you're trying to envision something that doesn't exist, and especially with those who have grand plans. All those people who would have made certain bold moves in life. There really needs to be a certain amount of belly. Mm-hmm. And as some people might suggest, yeah, you're going into the unknown. They see going into the unknown in itself is a major situation for many. People love comfort, they love the routine. So to go into something new, you want to say, can really bring about, again, all those things we mentioned, the self-doubt, the anxiety, and sometimes you hold yourself back. So I guess there needs to be that edge, that right amount of quote-unquote crazy. And I mean crazy as in you're mad, but brave, just stepping in.
Yeah.
And kicking the door down and say, you know what, let's see what happens here.
Correct, because comfort don't exist, you know. You see that comfort zone, that is the unknown you're talking about. Every day, every second is unknown either way. Thinking that we could predict anything is a fallacy.
But still, if you find yourself in a routine and it's a rhythm, you get up, put yourself together, drop the children to school, pick them up 2:30, come home, watch a particular show, read a book, go to bed. There are folks who are very comfortable with that cycle, you know, and to break that cycle or to go into a new space. Let's look at migration. Those who pick up themselves from Trinidad and Tobago, the island that we know and love, to jump in. I've been a very brave person and I've made major decisions in my life. The whole nation knows this. But when it comes to leaving Trinidad, that's something that I'm very, very fearful about. I think I need to find that crazy, or probably something needs to trigger that.
Imagine everything that could go right instead of imagine everything that could go wrong.
But
because either way you're crazy, either way you can't predict what's going to happen. So if you hold on to everything that's negative, right, you might make this step.
But here where it stems from, and I'm glad we're having this discussion, and I'll be open this morning. Plenty of it stems from the experience of my own family. In this situation, my father, who made that step, went out there. It didn't work out for him at all, and I saw how he could get lost in that system out there called United States now. And I think because of that, I made a decision, a conscious decision to stay home and build at home, as opposed to go out there and looking for it. Because I don't know if I could get lost now.
Good point, and one is, you have your father there as an example. So talking to him, understand where he might have gone wrong could help you do better, one. And then two, nothing wrong with the decision to stay in Trinidad and build Trinidad. But if it's based on fear, then it may be something wrong with that. Right? So nothing wrong with what you're doing. But once we base our decision on fear, we would never reach the heights we want to reach.
Yeah, because I mean, everyone looking on this morning could relate to something that's major, something that they might want to do. Could be open a business, could be get married. That's a major decision too. There are many people who, I mean, you know, they tell themselves, okay, they're watching friends, getting married, things falling up, and you feel like, I'm not too sure, so they rather just do that woman-man live scenario, that come on, knock, you know. They don't want to take the extra step. There are many people engaged for years, you want to say. I know people engaged for 6, 7 years. What is that? And I guess they need to have the right amount of crazy to step over the line, but they just can't.
Correct. And
it holds us back, you know.
And we as human beings, we blessed and cursed with imagination, right? But somehow we always imagine the negative things about something that's going to happen. Imagine 10 things. I will challenge the nation today. Everything that you think about you could do, why not imagine the best scenario? Where you could lose either way, because you imagine the worst, you feel bad, you have anxiety, you have fear. So just walk around, imagining the best thing that could happen. Be crazy enough to just imagine everything will go good.
And you know, I mean, it's a real potent point, and it's a good way to go about life. But I wonder if people who take the option to hold back and to imagine, I guess, the negative, do that as a means of self-protection, really, of not wanting to mess with your psychological well-being, your financial well-being, your lived reality. Because again, you know, with big risk comes big success and big gain, but also it could be big loss, you know. And sometimes people look at the loss of others too, and they tell themselves, boy, I don't really want to end up like my neighbor, I don't want to end up like...
But you are not them.
So to break that mold again, just break it down, you have to basically imagine the best that could happen.
Just imagine the best, and I'm not saying be airy-fairy, because in Stoicism, there's a concept called negative scanning, right? Where you scan and you see everything that could go wrong, but you're not staying in that position, right? So you see the things that possibly could go wrong, but you also see the solution to it. So it's not that you're just pretending there's no danger, pretending there's no risk. There is risk and there is danger, but you're also seeing the possibility of it, instead of seeing the negativity of it.
You know, I love the conversation this morning, and the takeaway is to really, I guess, it's one life, and once it's within your capacity, obviously, I would love to win an Olympic gold, but that's impossible at this point. At my age, at my size, it can't happen.
And I think you have Olympics for older
Yeah,
folks.
probably
You could do that.
over 40 Olympics,
Right.
but I can't go run 100. I know that, so that's a kind of, that wouldn't make sense. But let's say going to the Olympics or to probably broadcast or do, that is something that is in my particular vein. What's going to prevent me from doing it sometimes fair? Saying, you know what, if I put myself out, if I put my application in, I won't get through. But if you don't put it in, how you'll ever know?
Correct, Jason. And I even saying for the nation, it have plenty goals we want as a country. We want to be a first world nation. Why not just hold our vision and keep it instead of, well, the people and the society and the mentality and this and that is holding on to the negative parts of it. We could do this, you know, if we just hold on to that positivity.
I'll let you have the final words, you know, to the Trinidad and Tobago audience, you answer. Go right ahead.
To be the right kind of crazy, you need to release fear and hold on to the solutions. Not that you wouldn't see the possible risks, but you could always see that you will become triumphant. Don't make life complicated, because even though life is not easy, it's really not that hard. Thank you for listening.
You want to say IODK answering the question this morning, and it's one I want you to ask yourself this morning, and you will know your answer. You don't even have to verbalize it. It's an answer that will come from your heart. And let's go forward and not be afraid of things that don't even exist. You know, fear holds us back so much in life. You know, I've always heard, and I'll say this before we go to the break, when people get to a nice ripe age and they're in their final days, people tend to regret the things they did not do as opposed to the things they did, you know. What's done is already done. It's the scenarios that they say, well, I wonder if, you see that, I wonder if, why, that's not nice. You want to say, thanks a lot, man.
Right.
Up next, we get into one of my favorite things to do. I love history, and I love, obviously, what the National Trust of TNT is doing. Of course, the business development and marketing coordinators here with me, Graham Sweet. It's always good to have Graham on the program. And this is a big deal. Nelson Island on Saturday. I'm part of the trust, you know, yeah, as registrars, people my fee every year, you know, you mean. I love this. So Graham Sweet, he joins us to give us details. See you soon.